Welcome everyone to the Side Draft Podcast. This past weekend, NASCAR had their throwback weekend. A lot of cool throwback paint schemes, throwback hairdos, and a lot of throwback heritage in the NASCAR history being thrown back at you. But we are reviewing the Xfinity Sport Clips 200, which was a really eventful race. To start out the event, we had 42 Ross Chastain. He would win the pole and had a really good opportunity for Chip Ganassi Racing. We'll get to see what he'll do in that race. The 23 car in qualifying, Chase Elliott would spin to start in the back. He had a tremendous save though. We would also have Vinnie Miller blowing a motor in qualifying. He would start at the back as well. And rounding out the people that has to start in the back, the 19, Brandon Jones, failed inspection around 4 times and hit at the start on pit road, a lap down at the start of the race.
Yeah, it's pretty tough for that team. It's really hard to start a race a lap down, especially at Darlington.
Yeah, Darlington. I mean, man, that's just brutal and torture at that point because, Darlington, the tires just fall off so fast. I'm not really sure if he ever got his lap back. I think he did with that first caution. So he got lucky there. Ross Chastain would take the lead. First caution would happen 3 laps later. The 60 car would get spun by the 11 in turn 4. Not really sure what happened there. I'm not sure if Cindric checked up or if the 11 just went in there too hot.
I believe the 11 just misjudged it and caught his left rear corner panel and just spun him around, and the 60 car really wasn't expecting that, and all of a sudden he just goes into the wall, ends his day, and he was really frustrated about that.
Beating that steering wheel. Like, man, this is kind of sad to watch how emotional he was, because you just felt bad for him, because last race with the 60 team, he wanted to make it special with them, had that throwback to Ford, and just didn't get very lucky there with the 11.
Yeah, he's really, really passionate for that team, and really wanted to give him a good finish, and you can really see that in his actions and his interview after the wreck. It's just really tough for that team.
The 42 car and the 20 of Christopher Bell fighting for the lead. Ross Chastain would hold him off. Bell would catch back up to him. Just couldn't pass him. His passing was just hard at this racetrack. There's just no way to do it without getting any contact or any way of making him loose. I just have to pull off that perfect slide job, as Dale Jr. says.
Yeah, it's really tough to pass. I mean, especially when these cars are on the edge anyway. And the preferred line's the high groove. If you go in the middle groove, you get really loose or tight, and it's really hard to make that pass.
Yeah, really, there's no low line at this place. It's either the high or the middle.
Yeah.
The low line is wrecking at that point. But Christopher Bell would get a little bit of Darlington. He would get sideways, and he was able to save it with that tremendous amount of talent that he has. And I think, practicing on the dirt tracks really helped him there.
Yeah, he's got very good car control, and got a little loose off the turn, and he saved it and kept his second position.
And Ross Chastain wins stage number 1, first stage win in his 200 starts. And no, he's not a rookie. Everyone that says he's a rookie. Saw a lot of those comments on Twitter that he's a rookie.
He's a rookie, first time in Xfinity. Come on, people! He's in the playoffs.
He's been in the sport for quite a while.
Yeah,
around 200 starts, like I said. But
he drives the Cups and Cups cars in the Xfinity, so he's been around a while.
He's a rookie in terms of running up front, though. So Christopher Bell would finish second. Third is Kevin Harvick, and Tyler Reddick in fourth. I want to just give a shout out to him because he ran a perfect race, I think. Maybe got in the wall a few times, but he did pretty good. It was like a veteran out there.
He did very well for for his race, and ran a very good race.
I feel like not a lot of people talked about him. I feel like he needs to be talked about because that's pretty good. A pretty good race that he put up there. And also his teammate Justin Allgaier, the same being said, in fifth there. Pretty good race for those two.
Yeah, Allgaier he ain't doing too bad. He's come on strong from the road courses and stuff, and he's running very well here too.
The 98 on stage 2, when they all pitted, he would come off second, beating Christopher Bell. Denny Hamlin loves the wrench, so he takes it with him.
Yeah, he wants some adjustment in his car, so in case he needs to adjust it, on the track. But he would come back in and serve his penalty.
Unfortunate for him, he just didn't have the car to really run up there. He slid back in the top 10. Still raced his way up there to about third by the end of the race. So good comeback by Hamlin. 21 of Austin. 21 of Daniel Hemrick would push Harvick to the lead.
Yeah, these pushes on the restart really help whoever's getting the push and to get that lead.
Yeah, I think that's really key because it doesn't matter where you start. If you got like a cup guy behind you, you're going to probably get the lead. If you got somebody that's not really up there too much, you're probably not going to get a good push. But Daniel Hemrick was able to give Harvick a tremendous push, and I believe Harvick wanted Hemrick for the rest of the race right behind him.
Yeah, because once Harvick got out front, and Ross Chastain could never catch him at that point.
Then Christopher Bell would get loose. He would hit the 21 just a tad bit on lap 55. No caution though. 20 car would have to go to pit road because he blew a tire from that contact. Unfortunate for him. He had a good race going on. And it's also unfortunate because he is going for the regular season championship. That just let Justin Allgaier get away from him just a little bit. And caution would be out a few laps later for the same exact reason. He'd blow another tire, just couldn't fix the tire rub there, and would have a caution on lap 68.
Yeah, and that would pretty much end his day.
Yeah, so I don't know how far back he is right now in the points, but he's going to have to probably win the next two, and Allgaier would have to have some issues. But
yeah, they're all locked into the playoffs right now, so we'll see once the playoff starts how he'll do.
Yeah, I think those two are going to be the timeline.
Yeah.
Bell versus Allgaier. I think it's going to be at Homestead. We'll see how Cindric does in 22 as soon as the playoffs start. But restart, the 42 gets a push from Keselowski in the 22. Harvick doesn't get a good push at all from Justin Allgaier, so that really helped the 42 get a good lead, and it would be Harvick versus Keselowski in second.
Yeah, then about lap 79, something happened to Brandon Jones. He just got loose and went spinning off a turn. But he did very well. He did very well keeping it off the wall. He has some very good driving, but he continued on.
Yeah, kept it off the wall, and pretty veteran move to keep it off the wall.
Yeah.
The 42 would lead again on the restart. Awesome push by Brad Keselowski. Said on the radio he wanted Brad behind him every restart, and that he did for the most part. Brad Keselowski was putting pressure on him, just not enough time for Brad to get around him in the stage. Ross would win. Brad in second. Third is Harvick. Fourth is Allgaier, and fifth is the number 9. So same top 5.
they're racking up stage points, ain't they?
Well, it's not exactly the same top 5 because Bell's not in it anymore. Just replace him with Brad Keselowski, but really almost the same top 5 throughout the entire race.
Yeah.
Stage 3 would then begin, and we would see the battle being heated up between the 22, 42, and the 98. Had a nice battle on pit road for the lead, but the 42 managed to barely nudge him out there. And during the race, 22 car would get pressure on the 42, trying to force a mistake, trying several times to make a pass. Just couldn't get the drive off to really do anything.
He's wearing that bumper out, and he's trying to do everything he could. He'd get a run on him, and he just couldn't make the pass.
And then the 22 would make a pass on lap 105, but he would get loose and get into the wall just a tiny bit. Kevin Harvick would go to second, trying to chase down the 42. Harvick got a good run through, I believe it was 1 and 2, but the 40 car would be in the way on the high line. Harvick was already next to the 42. 42 tries to make it 3 wide, tries to thread the needle there, and it's not something that really ever works out at Darlington. You know, the many times we've seen it, just a racing deal that just didn't go out too well.
No, and everybody on Twitter was just really down in Harvick. I mean, it really wasn't Harvick's fault. It's just a racing deal. I mean, they was both going for the lead. They both touched, and that's what caused them both to hit the wall. It ain't that Kevin Harvick ran him in the wall. It's just they just touched each other off the turn, and that's caused them both to slide up into the wall.
Yeah, if you could, if you replayed it, you can see where the 42 is. He's pinning him down. He possibly could have went up a little bit to avoid hitting Harvick, but he hit Harvick by pinning him down a little bit, and you can see the splitter for the rear. You can see it, bow out a little bit, and as soon as that happened, Harvick lost it.
Yeah, because as soon as it hit that front splitter, it knocked his front end off and made him real loose, and that just sent him up into the 42.
If that wouldn't have happened, like if that splitter would have, not bowed out like that, I think they both would have made it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if the 42 would have stayed maybe a foot higher, they would both got through there and they would have raced on.
Yeah, but, you got to think, this is the 42's first time really leading a race, and then you got the 98 and the 22 behind you. You want to keep the lead.
You got that pressure behind you, so.
You got so much nerves running through your mind and so much anxiety, and you're just going to do whatever it takes to keep the lead, and ended up being the wrong move. And then after that, had some issue with the 42 spinning the 98. Not necessarily a fan of that move. That's kind of made me lose a little bit of respect for Ross Chastain. Don't want to slam him or anything. I just think that was the wrong move. You're trying to look good for sponsors, potential contracts, and that's just probably going to kill you on that.
Yeah, it's not very good because just race on. I mean, you don't have to just necessarily take the guy out. And I know Ross Chastain a couple weeks ago at Road America took out Joey Gase at the end of the race. Just spun him around. So I don't know if this is a theme of him. I hate to say that, but just keep racing. You don't need to just dump somebody.
I think that's something he just needs to, look back at what happened.
Control that temper.
And put it past him. Yeah, control your temper. Go to the corner, Ross Chastain. No. But I don't think it was really a fault of either 42 or 98. I think really the main issue was the 40 car. The 40 car would have went to the bottom. I really don't think Harvick would have tried to make it 3 wide because he's a veteran driver there. But if there's a car on the high line, there's just nothing you can do. Harvick's already in the middle. I think if he would have backed off, he would have probably slid up in the 42. Either way, really, that's just something.
Yeah, at any point, and everybody getting mad at Ross or getting mad at Harvick, it's just a racing deal. It's just they're going for the lead, and that's what they're here for. That's why they race. I mean,
it's stock car racing, people. I mean, that's just a factor of racing. Those things happen.
It's like, what did Kyle Busch say?
If you don't like it, don't even watch. I used to hate that statement there, but, there's a lot of truth in this situation. This isn't, F1 or IndyCar where you can't make any contact at all. This is NASCAR. It's
Rubbin's
racing in that sport. All sports are good, but this is NASCAR, and this is what we're going to have in NASCAR. I mean, it's NASCAR.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they rubbed the wrong time and got each other loose and just bumped each other out. So I don't think Harvick intentionally wrecked the 42, and I don't think the 42 intentionally tried to wreck the 98. Well, after the race, after that incident, after that fact, but at that point in the race, I think they're just going for the lead.
Well, I think a lot of the 42 spotters and team was just trying to say that it was the 98's fault, and I think, 42 probably didn't know that at that point. So he probably got mad about that. It's his first opportunity, and he thinks Harvick wrecked him. So, and then
Harvick showed his displeasure with it and kind of stopped in the 42 box.
I like that, though. That shows some personality.
That was funny. It won't start.
That was pretty funny, though.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that they wish drivers would show a lot of emotion, personality. That's it. That's Harvick. He likes to be kind of like, I don't want to use the word intimidator, but he intimidates people.
Yeah. So, Harvick's going to push you to the limits. It's something. Watch him out on the track, and he's having fun. He's out there racing people.
Yeah, this race really changed my mind about the Xfinity drivers and the Cup drivers being in the same races. I think a situation like this really helps Ross Chastain because other guys like Bell, maybe Allgaier would drive him hard like that, but I think Harvick and Brad Keselowski, they have so much experience. They're going to race the 42 with, the most experience that they got, the most talent. And if you could beat these guys, that means you have almost the same exact talent as them. Yeah. And that's something the 42 can learn from in the future and also how to evade situations like this.
Yeah, because Ross Chastain, he races in the Cup Series too, and he's in the number 15 car in the Cup Series. He's got a limited schedule, but he's, I don't know if he's really considered a Cup driver too.
Yeah. So it kind of pushes the issue. Like, what if Matt DiBenedetto or somebody that doesn't have like a top tier ride? What if they went to the Cup Series and totally annihilated a race? Or the Xfinity Series. If they went to the Xfinity Series and annihilated the field, would people feel the same way as Brad Harvick, Kyle Busch running in that series?
I don't know.
It's kind of
questions you think about.
Well, it's really, you can see a lot of bias because if Ryan Blaney goes in the Xfinity Series, and wins the race, not a lot of people are mad about that.
Yeah.
But Brad Harvick, a lot of these people, not necessarily popular with some fans, then they have a problem with it. I think maybe it's just biased towards some drivers, but it's just me.
Yeah, here on the Side Draft Podcast, we don't really want to be biased towards one driver or another. I know we got a handful of favorites we like, but we try not to be biased towards them. And I know in the NBC booth, a lot of times they're biased towards certain drivers too.
Yeah, it was really weird. Dale Jarrett was like, "Oh, he couldn't go up. He had like another lane that he could have went up." He was like, he got out of that gray area. He wasn't even in the gray area.
Yeah, he's pushing Harvick down the track, but it's tough. It's a tough deal.
I think NBC needs some cleaning up to do.
Yeah. It's easy to say if you're sitting on the couch or in the stands, oh, he should have done this, he should have done that. They're going over 100-some mile an hour in the turns, and you just got a split second. It's like on the interstate, and you just got to make a quick move or something.
Yeah, but it's racing though. You can't be mad about drivers racing on a racetrack in a race. Like if this is the interstate and something like that happened, you can be mad all you want, but
I'm gonna dump him.
Yeah, I'm glad people don't do that. You make mistakes even driving on the road. split-second mistakes. I don't want to fault either one of these drivers. I mean, things happen in an instance. But I wanted to make sure we said the right things. We reviewed this wreck over and over. It seemed like most of the issue was the 40 car, and then the 42 just didn't know what to do, made it 3 wide, and pinched Harvick down, got into the splitter. Splitter got loose, or splitter made Harvick loose. Harvick couldn't do nothing at that point. 42 retaliates.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a racing deal. I mean, you look back at the one of the most spectacular Darlington race between Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven. You know, they're beating bang on each other and stuff, and going for the lead, and they're going across the start finish line, hooked up with each other. You know, and they was okay with it. I mean, it's just racing.
Yeah, I really miss those bodies for these cars, because those were cars that you could just beat somebody's door off and they'd still be fast.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd still be pretty good out there. So, they didn't really have like the splitter like we do now. And I really think if it wasn't for that splitter getting sideways, I still think they would have, hit each other, and
they might have bounced off the wall.
But they still would have been okay. I mean, I think the splitter was the main issue in that wreck.
Yeah, because once the 42 front end hooked up a Harvick splitter right there, that's just sent his car sideways.
And then, Harvick saying at the end, and they're inexperienced driver in fast race cars. It's true to an extent, I would say. This was Ross' first time in a fast car to that level.
First time going for the lead. I mean,
it was just inexperience at the moment. It's just got to figure out what to do in those types of situations. And if it wasn't for Kevin Harvick putting him in that situation, he would have never learned from that.
Yeah, so they both tried hard, so it's just a racing deal. We'll just move on and go to the next race.
It was good racing, though. I really enjoyed that race. Really wished it would have went all the way down to the wire. It would have been fun. But Brad Keselowski said, "Thank you for the lead. I'm gone."
Y'all boys fired out. I'm leaving.
And Brad Keselowski just takes it away. Cole Custer was right there, just couldn't do nothing. The 42 car would have to go back down pit road for some sort of tire rub, which is weird because he didn't have that right after the wreck. I don't know how that occurred all of a sudden.
Some part of the sheet metal was rubbing on the tire and just making it smoke.
22 car just lead the rest. And we got to see the American flag fly in Darlington Raceway.
On Labor Day weekend.
That's
pretty awesome.
Wasn't it? Didn't we have that before Dale Jr. on Labor Day weekend? Or something like that? Or was that? It was something like that.
I believe so. It's good to see Brad Keselowski get back in victory lane. And he's never won here before, and he's never led a lap. And there he led the remaining laps and gets the win. So he can mark this off his list.
Yeah. Darlington, check. It was a fun race watching the Cup guys run at it with Ross Chastain. Unfortunately, they had that little issue there. But hard racing, and I think I respect both drivers, and hopefully they both can move on, and really hope to see both of them win more races in the future.
Yeah, I hope there's Ross Chastain get more opportunities in the future, and maybe get to go to a better route.
So, if you could give Ross Chastain some advice, what would it be?
Patience.
Yeah.
A lot of patience. Even though somebody, you might think somebody done you wrong and dumped you or something, don't just go and dump them back. It's just a racing deal. Just learn from it and move on.
So if you could give Harvick any advice, what would it be?
I don't know.
I feel like Harvick's just watching this. He's like giving a little smirk. He's like, I wonder what he's going to say.
I don't know what to say about Harvick. He's a champion, and he knows a lot about racing, and he's races hard. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think really just needs to put that past him.
Yeah.
Don't race Ross.
The thing I to say about Harvick, don't change. I enjoy his personality and his comments, and I just really enjoy that.
It really makes racing fun.
Yeah, it's like
as much as you want to, some people want to be mad at people like Harvick and Kyle for, for their personalities, but I think they make racing fun.
Yeah, I believe after the post-race interview with Ross Chastain, I think he wanted to dodge the question because he didn't really want to hurt his chances for another ride. And
yeah, I think he didn't want to say anything about it because he didn't know what happened exactly, and he probably felt bad about dumping him after that fact. So hopefully he learned from it. But our picks, though, your pick was a tremendous pick. He picked Brad Keselowski, and he won the race.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Pick a winner in 2 weeks. So, and matter of fact, it was the third place. Yeah, because the top two wrecked, and then the third place would win. So
his pick for the Cup Series today is Chase Elliott. Can he keep that streak going? 3 in a row. Will Chase Elliott be third while 2 other guys battle it out?
But it was really good to see Brad win. It was really good talking about him on our podcast. It's the first time we get to talk about him. So it was really good. Yeah,
Brad is one of the only drivers that knows about the podcast, and I think it's really cool to talk about him again. Possibly he might see this again. I don't know. Would be really cool, though.
Yeah, he is super nice, and I got to say his fans are even super, too.
Yeah, so Brad Keselowski fans, celebrate driver 1. My pick of the week was number 98. Pretty good run there for him. He would finish 29th after those implications with Ross Chastain. Still a good race overall. I would say 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If they would have battled it out all the way through, I would say 15 out of 10.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how Brad and Harvick and Ross Chastain would have done if the incident didn't ever happen.
The next race, though, is at the Brickyard. So we'll get to see one driver kiss the bricks. Who will it be?
Well, I want to go with one that has some troubles in this race real early. It's Austin Cindric. I ain't sure if he's going to be in the 22 or the 12, but he's in the playoffs, and I think he's going to try to redeem himself at Indy.
And as for me and my pick, I'm going to go with the 20, Christopher Bell. Also a driver, had some issues in this race. A lot of good drivers had some issues in this race.
Yeah, Darlington, I mean, the lady in black, she just come up and just snap some of them.
Smack you on the head. So look out for the 22. Look out for the 20. It's going to be a great race at the Brickyard. If you haven't got your tickets yet, go get your tickets because it's probably going to be a good race trying to get to the playoffs. I think it's like the second to last race for the Xfinity guys. We'll see if Austin Cindric can make it to the playoffs, and we'll see what Ross Chastain can do in the 42 once again.
Yeah, I believe he's 60 points above the cutoff.
Around 54 or somewhere in there. So It's going to be interesting to see what he can do, see if he can redeem himself. Yeah. But I hope you all enjoyed today's Cup race from Darlington, and I hope you all enjoy Throwback Weekend.